Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, lawmakers are finally moving on a state budget and Medicaid expansion. Details in our weekly legislative update with the Arizona Capital Times. Also tonight, Arizona's wildfire season is expected to be above normal this year, and we'll meet a valley man who opened up a home in Africa for children orphaned by AIDS. Those stories next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. The logjam on Medicaid expansion in the House looks to be breaking, which means the legislative session could be over by next week. Here with the latest is Jim Small of the Arizona Capital Times. Jim, I say could be over by next week. Maybe not, huh?
Yeah, maybe not. The end of a legislative session is always a very fluid occurrence, and what looks like it might take an hour may take a day. What looks like it may take a week may also take a day. So we're going to have to see how things shake out this next week. They're supposed to take this budget, theoretically at least, take it to committee on Monday, and potentially with a vote on the floor on Tuesday. So we'll see if that schedule still kind of unfolds that way, and if it does, I think that portends getting out of session sooner rather than later. If that gets delayed, I think we could be pushing to the end of the week, or if not the week after.
The story kind of started to unfold here as the Speaker finally allowed for at least getting the process going for a vote on the budget and Medicaid expansion, which is the big part of the budget here. Why did he change? Why did he allow this to happen? And I thought that the committee meetings were supposed to start like tomorrow.
Yeah, he told reporters yesterday that he basically kind of looked at the calendar and said, we're into June already. We've got less than 4 weeks until we've got to have a budget done. The fiscal year is going to begin here. This Medicaid thing is what's holding everything up. He didn't feel that he was getting anywhere in his negotiations with the governor's office, and so he decided, you know what? Let's just go ahead and put this thing forward. We'll let the chips fall where they may on this expansion. He said he would vote against it. He didn't get any of the safeguards and accountability reforms he was seeking, and some of the other components that he wanted to have added to it. So, he said he won't support it, but he's not going to oppose its movement and a vote on it on the floor.
That sounds awfully similar to what we heard out of the Senate. I mean, are there other similarities going on here?
Well, there are some. I mean, there's certainly dynamic. There's a coalition building that has been building for a while now of Republicans that are expected to vote with the Democrats on this Medicaid expansion. And in the Senate, the original plan was that Republicans would support the budget as a whole, and then this bipartisan coalition would support just the expansion component. And that very quickly turned into Republicans opposing the entire thing, and that bipartisan coalition supporting the entire budget. And I think that's what Speaker Tobin is trying to avoid happen in the House right now, but it's a fine line to walk, and I think it's really easy for that idea to kind of fall apart, and so I think that's really his challenge going forward in the next week, is to see how he can thread that needle to get Republican support on a budget, even though most of those Republicans are going to know that when the budget hits that the budget is also going to include Medicaid expansion, which they oppose.
So the votes are there for the most. I mean, everyone kind of agrees the votes in the House are there for Medicaid expansion and the budget per se. Still in all, are there procedural things, I think you alluded to this, but are there procedural things that would keep folks from voting or getting their hands on this thing?
I think one of the issues right now is, the official reason for the Appropriations Committee not happening tomorrow, as you're talking about, it was originally supposed to happen tomorrow. The official reason on that was that there were some people who were out of town, and maybe there was some language that wasn't quite ready. But I think the real reason seems to be that there's a number of conservative bloc on that Appropriations Committee who says, well, I'm not going to vote on a budget, because I know that when it gets out of this committee, no matter what we do to it in appropriations, we're going to strip it of the expansion. We're going to make it into a more quote-unquote conservative budget. When it gets to the floor, all that stuff is going to get added right back on, and essentially they're saying we don't want to do that. We're not going to support a budget knowing that it's going to go to the floor and turn into this expansion proposal that we don't like. So therefore, we're not going to vote for anything. And we know that there are several lawmakers who've told that to leadership, just flat out, and said, I'm not going to support any budget. Even though I like your spending plan, I'm not going to support it because I know what it's going to turn into.
So what happens if this bloc on the committee says, I'm not voting for anything?
Then I think leadership at that point will have to reassess how to get the budget to the floor. And the Appropriations Committee may be the traditional home of budget action. It is not the only home of budget action. I mean, a budget can go through any committee.
Find another committee then.
You know, certainly there's been some talk about the Health Committee. You know, the Health Committee is chaired by Heather Carter, who's one of the main proponents of the expansion. You know, we've seen in the past, I know a couple of years ago, we saw parts of the budget go through another committee in the Senate because the Appropriations Committee wouldn't support it. So there is some precedent for this, and you know, I think that House leadership is going to have to cross that bridge if it needs to, you know, next week. I think we'll know a lot more on Monday.
Appropriations Chair John Kavanaugh, not a fan of the Medicaid expansion as well. Is he someone who can help facilitate the process or help block the process?
I think he could do either. I think the general view of Representative Kavanaugh, though, is that he's a good soldier. You know, he's a member of leadership. I mean, this budget proposal is one that he put together. You know, that he really had a strong hand in crafting. So, and I think the expectation is that even though he doesn't like the expansion, he would work to strip it out in committee, but that his job as chairman, and is being directed by the Speaker, is to hear those bills and get them out of his committee. So I imagine that he's definitely part of the leadership team that's working to try to make sure that these bills can get out of the committee.
Last question. Democrats seem to be the foundation for all this. I mean, they're not necessarily taken for granted, but they're expected to be there for the budget that includes Medicaid expansion. They still going to be there?
That all depends on what the budget ends up looking like, and I think that's another part of that. You talk about walking that tightrope for Speaker Tobin. I think that's another part of it, is how do you put together a budget proposal that's going to get, you know, if you can't get 31 votes among Republicans, how do you get the needed votes among Democrats to get that budget proposal out, with or without the Medicaid expansion?
So we should be having another midweek legislative update next week, you think?
I would bet on it.
All right. Jim, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. The National Interagency Fire Center is suggesting that Arizona's upcoming fire season will be, quote, above normal. That's not good, considering how major fires seem to be the norm of late. Joining us now is Jim Cross of KTAR Radio. He has a long history of covering Arizona wildfires. Jim, good to see you again. Thanks for joining.
It's been a long time, Tim.
It has been a long time, but you're out there, and you're out there every season, and we talk to you every year about this. When does the Arizona fire season start, usually?
Pretty much anymore, it's year-round. But it starts in earnest in May, but it's been starting, you know, a few weeks ahead of that as the years have gone by. And right now, we're really teed up for a bad fire season.
Have we had much so far?
Not a lot. There's been, you know, a handful of, you know, 1,000-acre fires here and there. But the big concern is we could have some fires that run in the tens of thousands of acres by the time this is over with.
Indeed, it seems like once we get to 110, it's almost as if someone flips a switch and here come the fires.
Yeah, we're getting into that. And extreme heat warning is going to affect, you know, through the weekend. You know, we've had windy days, which was not expected by the fire forecasters. It seems like every day it's 105, 110, the wind's blowing. Humidity is very, very low right now.
Are we expecting more in the desert areas, the brush areas, or more in the mountains this go-around?
I think it could be almost anywhere at this point. We had just enough rain this winter to fuel enough brush in the desert that can burn. The high country had less snowpack than usual. What snowpack we did have melted weeks ahead of normal. There's no snowpack left, so I think it could happen almost anywhere.
And we do have red flag warnings out now, correct?
We will. We've had them up and running off and on over the past couple or 3 weeks. Nothing current, but there will be.
As far as what you were talking about, the weather and how it would affect maybe brush fires as opposed to mountain fires, how much does the winter weather affect what we see in the following summer?
It affects it huge. In the high country, you want the snowpack to at least soak into the wood. Right now, the fuel moistures are very low in the high country. Not a lot of, I mean, enough snow, but not what we needed. Again, it melted weeks ahead of usual. The desert, again, it was, you know, we didn't get a lot of rain here in the wintertime, but there's just enough that it's not going to take much right now to spark a pretty big fire.
Up in the high country, bark beetles have been a factor for years. Still a problem up there?
Big problem. We've had some estimates, according to researchers, 10% of the southwest forests are dead because of those. Arizona has lost millions of acres due to bark beetles. Problem is you can't kill them unless you get strong winters. They don't like water. Right now they're chowing down.
Yeah, no kidding. As far as the drought is concerned, obviously not a good thing when things are drying out. But with that in mind, it also keeps new fuel from growing. Still in all, not a good situation, the drought.
We've been in a drought, some estimates 20 years. I've talked to some researchers that think it's possible we're in a mega drought, which could go a century. It's happened before about 500 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, nothing conclusive on it yet, but this drought's showing no sign of letting up.
So what kind of resources we now have here in Arizona? I heard a DC-10 was available all of a sudden here. What's happening?
DC-10 was brought in from Victorville, California. It flew the powerhouse fire outside of Los Angeles this week. It's a big plane. It can drop many more times the amount of fire suppressant than a regular air tanker can. It was used heavily in Greer during the Wallow fire and largely responsible for saving Greer, making the runs it did. It can lay a line of retardant a mile long. You know, it's a very effective tool, and they brought in more hot shots out of Idaho and Montana. They're staging them here right now.
I was going to say, is it unusual to get that kind of equipment and that kind of personnel in here before anything is even started? Or is that an indication of what they're expecting, or is that pretty much pro forma?
I thought the DC-10 coming in when it did without any major fires going was a little bit early, but then it was explained to me today that the reason it's brought into Mesa, Phoenix Mesa Gateway Airport, is it can hit New Mexico from here, Colorado, California, Arizona, Utah, Nevada. And Colorado right now with wildfires, New Mexico with bad wildfires, California is dealing with a powerhouse fire. So this plane can strike almost anywhere in the West.
I've heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like there may be even more concern for Washington, for Oregon, and for parts of Northern California as much as in the Southwest. What kind of dynamic is going here?
There are people that think this could be the worst wildfire season we've ever had in the West. Idaho, Washington, Montana, Oregon, California, early fires. Arizona was top of the list.
Was top of the list.
Going into this season, along with Colorado.
Yeah.
New Mexico is always a concern. Now that's panning out over in New Mexico, and they're just starting. So we're probably conservatively 4 weeks out.
Colorado got hit pretty hard last year, didn't it?
Colorado got hit hard. New Mexico had the two largest wildfires they've ever had in that state last year. We, after burning 1 million acres in 2011, when the Wallow fire burned, dropped to about 200,000 last year. But it won't take much to get us back up in the higher range again.
What is being done as far as forest thinning and any preventative measures? Are we still kind of spinning our wheels on that? Or I know the forest is happening up there to a certain degree, but anything else getting done?
You know, there's thinning around communities, and I think communities are going proactive on this. The forest, like you mentioned, they're trying to get a jump on it. It could take, you know, quite a few years to get everything back in balance to where we need to be.
Indeed. I guess you can always predict one thing. It'll be unpredictable. I mean, there's really no way of knowing where that shot's going to happen.
It's not. I mean, the conditions right now feel close to as bad as they were in 2002. They're definitely on par with what they were in 2011, and that was the worst fire season we've ever had in this state, unrecorded history.
Isn't that interesting? Because most people think Rodeo Chetasky, that's got to be number one, and it wasn't. I mean, it was number one, but in terms of the fire season, not.
No, we had the number one largest fire in state history in 11. We had the fourth largest fire in state history. In fact, 9 of the top 10 fires in recorded history in the state of Arizona have all occurred since 2002. The only one in the top 10 that didn't was 1996 up in the high country.
9 of the top 10 since 2002?
2002, starting with the rodeo fire.
All right. Well, Jim, I hope you're not busy. I hope you have a very boring summer.
I would like to see the same. I don't think it will be.
I know, but it's good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Ted. Always a pleasure.
Get the inside scoop on what's happening at Arizona PBS. Become an 8 Insider. You'll receive weekly updates on the most anticipated upcoming programs and events. Get the 8 Insider delivered to your email inbox. Visit azpbs.org to sign up today.
Most of us have busy lives, and it can be hard to find time to get our normal chores done. Tonight, we'll meet a Phoenix man who not only works a full-time job, but also founded a home for AIDS orphans in Africa. Bob Solis and his family used their life savings to establish the Open Arms Home, which is now home to over 50 children. I recently talked to Bob Solis about his charity effort. It is good to have you here. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
And congratulations on give us a better definition of Open Arms Home.
Yeah, it's a residential facility, Ted, for children who have lost their parents to AIDS in South Africa, which is a particularly bad problem. So most of these children come to us with the shirts on their backs and we will raise them to adulthood. So it's a residential home.
You're based here, you live here. How did all this start?
My wife and I have 5 children of our own. And about 10 years ago, we took our family on a mission trip of our own. And we worked in an orphanage in South Africa because we wanted our kids to see how the other half of the world lived. And we saw so many children in need from this AIDS problem that we came home, thought and prayed about it. And we had been saving up to pay off our house for many years. We said, oh, what the heck, that's why they invented 30-year mortgages. And we took that money and bought a farm.
When you went on the trip, what did you expect to see? And was there a moment when everything kind of went, this is what we should be thinking about?
Yeah, it was when we went out into the community, what they call townships or we'd call slums, and you saw so many children just wandering around, and you'd ask people, what's this child's story? And a next-door neighbor would be taking care of the child because they didn't know what else to do. They weren't related, and you just saw this over and over and tugged on our hearts, and we just we're very blessed to be a part of it.
What kind of response did you get from folks in the community? The kids are obviously, they're having a great time. They look like they're doing pretty doggone well. But what about folks in the community? What kind of response did you get?
We were welcomed with open arms, pardon the pun. There is such a need for children's homes there, and there's an overwhelming need that people really stepped up, and local farmers gave us meat and dairy, and people knitted sweaters, and they've been very, very kind to us locally. Kind
to you locally. What about here? What about your family, your friends? I mean, it's one thing to say, I'm going to take a motorcycle trip or I'm going to have a midlife cry. I'm going to open a home for orphan kids in South Africa. What'd you hear?
Well, psychological counseling was one of the suggestions. But, we have a very supportive family. And so, in a big extended family here in Arizona. And they were all very supportive, although probably scratching their heads a little bit. But we started small and got the first child in 2006, and we've been adding 10 to 12 children a year ever since.
And as far as challenges now, what are some of the things you ran into that maybe you didn't expect?
Sure. The distance, of course, is the number one challenge. When you're trying to run an organization on the other side of the world and you're living here in Arizona, that becomes very problematic. We have American executive directors, a couple from Virginia that runs it for us, and they're doing a great job, so we're very pleased about that. And so we do the best we can to stay in touch, but the distance is probably the hardest thing. Probably the most unexpected blessing of the thing has been giving people jobs. The unemployment rate around there is about 50%, and we have 43 paid staff members at this point, and so it's been great giving them jobs.
When we saw the kids, they were obviously happy, they were having fun playing and dancing and just being kids, but I know that there has to be some kind of emotional need going on there. There have to be physical needs going on there. What have you run into?
No question. We have a master's level play therapist that comes every Thursday and Friday to work through some of the issues. Obviously, our children have issues with separation, with wondering about where their family is, etc. And so we work through those issues as best we can. And then, of course, we have a couple children themselves that are HIV positive, and so we have to attend to their needs. But they're doing great. They're on medication and doing super.
Now, the first kid you said was what year?
2006.
Okay, is that child still in the home?
He still is, yes.
And now how's he growing? How's he seeing the world?
He's doing great. His name is Safundo, and in his local language, Xhosa, that means a lesson. And he's taught us a lot of lessons about resiliency and how to keep moving forward in your life, and all of our kids are so resilient. It's pretty inspirational to know them.
How big a problem is AIDS in Africa in general and South Africa in particular?
Yeah, it's a big problem in sub-Saharan Africa. Some countries are further ahead in the fight than others. South Africa was one of the last countries to join the fight. And so as a result, 18 to 20% of the adult population is HIV positive. Well, in a country of 45 million people, you can imagine the toll that takes. And so because most of the people passing away from it are 20 to 40 years old, they have a lot of kids, and there's a lot of kids with no place to go.
But they have a place to go now. Expansion plans, what's going on?
Yeah, we have beds right now for 70 with 53 kids. So over the next couple of years, we'll get to 70. At that point, we'll kind of catch our breath and see what's going on. But we hope if we expanded beyond that, we'd build another campus because we want to maintain a family atmosphere. It's very important to us that it not get too large so that it doesn't become an institution.
A question for you. I mean, you work full-time doing something else.
Yes.
How do you find the time for this?
It's turned into my golf hobby instead, which is fine because I'm terrible at golf. But it's nights and weekends and whatever we can do, and speaking at churches and Rotary clubs. And it's a great privilege, actually. So I don't look at it as work. It's one of those things where you feel like you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
And it sounds like you actually walked across a major part of South Africa to raise money?
Yes. Next time I'll take the bus, Ted. Yeah, in 2008, we're out of space, and we were out of funds, at least on a personal basis. So we had a fundraiser where I walked 720 miles across the country. And it was a great adventure, and we raised about $250,000 to build more cottages. So.
Wow. Last question.
Sure.
Do you ever sit back? I was joking before. I was saying you must sleep awfully well for doing this kind of work. Do you ever sit back, though, and just look at the ceiling or just look outside and just marvel or wonder at what you've done?
I will tell you, my favorite thing at Open Arms, without exception, is to sit inside, even though I love playing with kids, and watch the children playing.
Yeah.
Because what happens with children who have suffered like this is they lose their childhood. They lose their sense of joy and play because they're begging to stay alive. So my favorite thing is to just sit and watch them play because I think Open Arms has given them a great gift, which is their childhood back.
Well, you talk about a blessing. That must be a blessing and a half for you and certainly for them. Continued good work and congratulations. This is a fantastic story.
Well, thank you very much, Ted.
Good to have you here.
Appreciate it.
And good stuff there from Bob Solis. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.